Marcus from Illinois asks, what do you think of the Bears moving on from Mitch Trubisky and starting Nick Foles? So for those who don't know, Nick Foles came in the third quarter of last week's game against the Falcons when the Falcons were up 26-10, and he came back and led the team back after after Mitch Trubisky was benched. So Andrew, what do you think of Nick Foles being the new starter in Chicago?
I think he should have been the starter to begin with. That's Big Dick Nick.
Yep.
How do you? That's all there is to it. Trubisky hasn't done anything, and you got Big Dick Nick. He reminded you why he's Big Dick Nick, because
he came in through three touchdowns and brought that team back to win the game.
Enough said. That's all you got to know. He's Big Dick Nick.
People forget though. I was watching Get Up last week, right? Dan Graziano, who's like this NFL insider, NFL wizard, people like to say, right? He said that starting Nick Foles at this point in the season is not a good idea because you're essentially just waiting for him to get injured at some point. Because he has this long injury history. When you really think about it, he doesn't. He got injured last year. Before that, he was in Philly being the backup to Carson Wentz, and he only played when Carson Wentz got hurt. He didn't get hurt in Philly, And even if you go back to his first starting season in the NFL, what did he do that year? 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He had the best. I think it was either the best or the second best touchdown interception ratio in NFL history up until that point in 2013. People just kind of wrote it off like it was nothing. The dude probably should have been in the MVP race that year because he also led that team to the playoffs. So I think people have been sleeping on Nick Foles for his entire career, and what happened in Jacksonville, it wasn't pretty, but that was things out of his control because you were dealing with the dude broke his collarbone in his first game on a play where he threw a touchdown. All right, he threw a touchdown on that play, and he broke his collarbone. And then what happens next? Okay, Minshew comes in and he goes 500. He goes 6-6. So it's like you can't really go back to Nick Foles when you see the young guy doing well, and your playoff chances are pretty much out the window. So you bench him.
That was a dumpster fire.
It was a dumpster fire last year, but the Jags kind of made it out with something. They at least knew they had something with Minshew. But and so you're the Bears though. Let's focus on the Bears because that's what this is talking about. At this point in his career, Mitch Trubisky, he's been at best slightly above average, right? Like ever so slightly above average. He led his team to the playoffs that one year. That was mainly due to the defense. It had very little to do with Mitch Trubisky actually doing well. And ever since then, it's just been mediocrity. It's kind of like he's actually played worse than someone like Daniel Jones. Because Daniel Jones, you can argue, is playing on a worse team. But Mitch Trubisky's just finding ways to shoot himself in the foot on a better football team. With a better defense, with receivers like Robinson and them boys. So my thing is going to Nick Foles to me is just a no-brainer. They probably should have gone to him before. They should have tried to offload Mitch Trubisky. And there's a reason they didn't pick up his 5th-year contract. They obviously don't have confidence in Mitch Trubisky. The only reason I can think of them not making this move earlier is because either the GM or the owner didn't want to make that move. So it's something that had to be made in game. Like Matt Nagy said, I can't take it anymore. This week, I don't care what happens. Because the weird thing is, he was benched at a weird time because it's not like he was having his worst game. We've seen Mr. Trubisky do a lot worse. I've seen that man through 3 interceptions and a half. That man's done a lot worse in his career. But all the signings kind of point to the team just doesn't have confidence in him to do the job. And if the team doesn't have confidence in you to do the job, you probably shouldn't be doing that job. So going to Nick Foles, no-brainer. I think the team's in a great position, 3-0. They're going in and they're playing in an NFC North where you got the 0-3 Vikings. You got the 1-2 Lions who don't seem like they're going anywhere. You got the Packers.
The Giants, yeah.
You got the Packers who are, they're going to be up there, but you can compete with them, I think. Especially now you're 3-0. You got a Super Bowl MVP and that defense. You got Khalil Mack and them boys on there. I think the Bears can make some noise in this division. Don't sleep on them, especially with an MVP quarterback.
Eddie Jackson, dude. They got Eddie Jackson.
They do have Eddie Jackson.
Eddie Jackson is tough. I mean, yeah. Dude, Big Dick Nick, that's a no-brainer. Honestly, a lot of teams should take a page out of that book. You had your quarterback. He didn't work out. I don't care how high you drafted him. If the reserve is doing better, like I watched it firsthand with my team, bro. As much as it pained me for them to move on with Mariota, a lot of it did have to do with the coaching. But if his backup is going to do better than that dude, regardless of how high you took him, you got to do it. Now, you don't go out and pay him Tannehill money, but that's another story.
Yeah.